His last one got no decision in an extra inning loss to the Cubs. 7 innings. He only gave up 2 runs. He is 6-0, however, against the Pirates in his career.
And a good way to making that 7-0 is to keep this kid off the base paths. You are right. Andrew McCutchen put on a show last night. And in his first week in the major leagues, hitting .400 with 5 runs batted in. A couple of triples last night, a double, a couple of runs scored. And he's already got the Willie McGee style of flipping the helmet away while he runs the bases, doesn't he?
Doesn't want anything slowing him down, and I'm not sure there is anything that can.
And Derek quickly ahead of him, a ball and 2 strikes. Everybody knows the Pirates faithful upset at the McLouth trade to Atlanta. But this kid's been so good, that's what allowed them to make that move. We'll see if it works out this year and in the future for Pittsburgh.
He came within a foot or 2 of hitting for the cycle last night. In the 14th inning, he backed McLouth up to the center field fence before Nate was able to run one down.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And a pop-up into shallow center. Drifting out is Escobar. Yunel's got it. And a good start for Derek Lowe. McCutchen pops out. And as hot as he has been, Nyjer Morgan, the man hitting behind him, has been equally cold. He's 3 for his last 24 at the plate.
Here's the defense tonight behind Derek Lowe, and it has a little bit of a different look because Matt Diaz gets the start in right field. Francoeur gets the night off after a long night last night. And likewise, Greg Norton at first base playing for Martin Prado, whose knee's a little balky.
And a quick strike, says Dana DeMuth to Nyjer Morgan. In fact, for Greg Norton, tonight is, I believe, his first start at first base. And up the middle, Lowe tried a backhanded grab of that ground ball, and Morgan has his first hit of the series tonight.
That's too bad because that came right back at him, but Derek, when he follows through, falls off a little to the first base side, and that went right behind his hind pockets. Almost hit him. He would have preferred that it did hit him.
So a man aboard, and Morgan, he's their best base stealer. He's 12 out of 19 this year. And Delwyn Young, the former Dodger farm hand, came over on April 15th. Getting a start at second base tonight. Looks at a ball low. 1 ball, no strikes. Freddie Sanchez getting the night off for Pittsburgh. And anytime you can let him rest when you're playing Pittsburgh, that's a good thing. He's one of the game's more exciting offensive players.
Brian McCann last night threw out Nyjer Morgan trying to steal. Brian was 1 for 6 throwing out base stealers in April. And 9 for 19 since.
Yeah, he's really worked hard on his catching and throwing. Credits David Ross with a lot of that improvement. They talk about the mechanics of that position all the time.
Got to keep an eye on Morgan, though. He's getting a walking lead over there, and got to make him stop. Huge lead before that last pitch.
He reminds me physically of Juan Pierre. The way he carries himself, the way he wears his uniform pants. A lot of stirrup showing.
Former junior hockey player in high school.
Big lead, another half step. There he goes, great jump. And a roller up the third base line that will spin foul. And a Young, a 1-2 count.
Take a look at how big his lead is. You got, see, and he's still moving his feet. You got to make him stop, and he got all the way out to the cut of the grass. This was really fortunate for Brian McCann that Young put this ball in play and at least fouled it off, because Morgan could have gone in standing up.
Let's see how far he measures now. Not going this time. Oh, and that just missed. Lowe thought he got the back door, but Dana DeMuth said it was closed. 2-2. Was it a strike?
Might have been a little bit wide, but a good pitch. Dana DeMuth typically a pretty tight strike zone.
2-2. Good jump. And Young will do it again. Pittsburgh as a club not much power. They are next to last in the National League with only 33 home runs this year. Many of those were hit by Nate McLouth, who's now an Atlanta Brave. But they have 31 steals. That's 10th in the league. So the Pirates, kind of like Atlanta, not a lot of power, not a lot of overall team speed. A liner into center field by Young. And around second, Morgan. He's going to take third as McLouth lobs the ball into second. And Pittsburgh has him at the corners for Adam LaRoche and only one out.
Nyjer Morgan might have known something that we don't in terms of never hesitating around second base and trying to take third on Nate McLouth, because Nate never really even charged the ball to try to stop him from going first to third. Keeps the double play in order, and with Derek Lowe out there, that's not a bad thing because of all the ground balls.
Adam LaRoche hit into a big double play in extra innings last night for Pittsburgh. Braves would like him to do the same in the first inning tonight. And he lifts one into left. That'll chase Garrett Anderson off toward left center. Morgan will tag and score on a sacrifice fly. LaRoche drives home his 26th man, and Pittsburgh jumps in front. Well, you can live with one. You'd prefer not to give up two. And LaRoche did his job. Now we'll see if his baby brother Andy can do the same. He's hitting .302 for Pittsburgh, a couple of homers and 27 driven in. I talked with Adam yesterday about what's it like playing with your brother, and he said every day I have to look across the diamond and ask myself, is this really happening? How cool is that to be playing with your brother on the same major league ball club? He said the frustrating part, or the difficult part, is it's like being a parent.
Yeah, I bet.
He's living and dying with every at bat, not only of his own, but of his brother who plays third base.
Yeah, it's probably true. Looking out for him.
LaRoche got off to a very slow start with the Pirates. They benched him for a couple of games, and maybe that's done him some good. Paints the corner, a ball and 2 strikes.
Derek Lowe's wins against the Pittsburgh Pirates, the 6-0 record, have come in 6 starts. So it's not like there's a no decision mixed in there anywhere.
That's hard to do. You think of all the things that can happen to a starting pitcher. The bullpen gives it up. Your offense doesn't score. Or gives it up late. Runner goes. Ground ball. Lowe handles this one behind the back this time. And that takes care of LaRoche and the Pirates in the first inning. But a sac fly from former Brave Adam LaRoche gives him an early lead. 1-0 your score with Ross Ohlendorf to the Turner Field mound.
Team that take the early lead tonight, they get a run in the first. We go to the bottom half of the inning and check out Bobby Cox's starting lineup. McLouth, Escobar, and that man Chipper Jones, whose last 3 games have been unbelievable. 3 homers, 7 RBIs. Brian McCann caught 11 innings last night. He's back in there tonight. Garrett Anderson bats fifth. Then Norton gets his first start. Matt Diaz in right. Kelly Johnson at second. And Derek Lowe, the pitcher, bats ninth. On the mound, Ross Ohlendorf, 26 years old, big guy, 6'4", 235 out of Austin, Texas. He's walked a few guys, has a fastball, slider, and a changeup, but he has good movement with that two-seamer. Sometimes the four-seamer gets him in trouble.
And he starts his former teammate Nate McLouth with a quick strike. McLouth with a 3-game hitting streak. 5-for-14 during that stretch for the Braves. He's hitting .278 with Atlanta. 2 steals in as many attempts, a home run, and 2 runs batted in. So the combination of power and speed that McLouth has shown with Pittsburgh has carried over here at Atlanta so far. You like him hitting better at the top of the order or in the middle of the order?
I'm beginning to be one over at the top. I thought he was going to be ideal in the third spot to deepen the order, but with the damage he can cause and the trouble he can render to defenses, I think he's probably going to be a better asset to the Braves leading off.
Quick strikeout by Ohlendorf. That ball is nasty as it exploded down and in on the left-hand hitting McLouth. And one away for the Braves shortstop, Yunel Escobar.
Ohlendorf generally throws in the 90 to 92 range, but he can crank it up to 94, 95 with that four-seamer. But just when he starts falling in love with how hard he's throwing is when he starts getting hit hard, and he's given up 11 home runs.
It's not throwing, it's pitching, correct?
Yes, supposed to be.
And Escobar swung so hard he went to a knee as that ball is fouled at the plate, 0-1. Yunel, too, with a modest hitting streak of 3 games. He's 5 for 17 and might have shaken himself up. Remember, he missed some time with a hip flexor. And I would think that's the kind of swing that might aggravate it. Off balance against Ohlendorf. And down 0-2.
Today's his kind of day, too, for Ohlendorf. He went to Princeton and majored in operations, research, and financial engineering. He incorporated math and engineering, and his thesis was written on the June amateur draft. So today, I'm sure he's quite interested in the goings-on.
That ball was tipped and caught, I believe, by Robinson Diaz. Escobar drops the bat and can't believe it. Dana DeMuth says that was a foul tip and calls him out. Escobar is going to argue, as is Bobby Cox. And Yunel had best be careful, as DeMuth not happy with his demonstrativeness.
DeMuth thought it was a foul tip into the glove of the catcher. Yunel saying he didn't foul tip it, and maybe the sound was that of the ball bouncing in the dirt and then into the glove.
The conversation, a brief one.
Let's see what DeMuth heard here. There definitely was 2 sounds, but didn't look like it hit the bat.
Well, it's been Yunel who's had all kinds of weird stuff happen this year to him. Isn't he the guy that got a hit by pitch where the ball hit the bat?
Right.
Earlier this year. Now this is a foul tip that maybe wasn't.
That didn't hit the bat.
Yeah. They all even out, don't they? McCutcheon in center makes a fine running catch. And Ohlendorf protects his 1-0 lead as we move along to the second inning. we move along to our second inning. And the Braves have made their first round selection in the June amateur draft, picking 7th overall. Go number 1 overall to the Washington Nationals. And now they have the unenviable task of trying to sign a guy who has been incredibly successful and incredibly hyped, which certainly is going to drive up the price tag for his advisor, Scott Boras.
2 Georgia high school kids went in the first 6 picks. Donovan Tate went 3rd to the Padres out of Cartersville. And Zach Wheeler, who the Braves had their eye on, a right-handed pitcher.
We were able to watch the first 6 or 7 selections on the high-definition scoreboard. And a line drive by Hinsky into right. Matt Diaz getting the start out there for Jeff Francoeur this evening. And low, another fly ball out. That's a little unlike him. That's 3 among the first 4 outs of the game.
Second pick, Ackley, was out of North Carolina University, and the first player taken by the Pirates was the catcher Tony Sanchez out of Boston College. What was interesting to me was that Tony Sanchez had never previously been drafted, and yet he had improved to such an extent that he was taken with the 4th pick by the Pirates.
I would think that's a little bit of an unconventional selection, wouldn't you?
Well, I guess it speaks to what Tony Sanchez has done at Boston College.
Yeah. Robinson Diaz, the Pittsburgh catcher, down another strike. But they've had some interesting selections, haven't the Pirates? You showed me one in the book a few minutes ago before we reached air.
Yeah, a kid last year in the middle of the draft from North Pole High School in Anchorage, Alaska.
That's awesome.
It is. John Russell was a first-round pick by the Phillies.
Little flare into right. That'll carry out to Diaz, and Matty handles the Sun field well. And 2 are up, and 2 men are down. Let's take a look, Joe, at our Piedmont Hospital injury report. Get the perfect balance of health and care.
Diabetes, and he's on the road back to full health. He's excited about the prospects of getting back out there and pitching, and he's already making the adjustments in his life that come with that.
And there are several players who have successfully fought that disease and have been able to play at a very high level in Major League Baseball, both in the current era and 20, 30, even 40 years ago. Man who was here just on our beginnings of this homestand, Ron Santo with the Cubs, battled that disease throughout his playing career and may end up in the Hall of Fame despite that fact. So we wish Buddy Carlisle all the best. And Derek Lowe, 3 more flyouts, retires Pittsburgh in order in the 2nd.
Where tonight I'm sure some people are slaking their thirst a bit in this warm night.
Wow.
You like that one?
I love that one.
1-0 Pirates. And fans, it's time for the know-how question of the game. Built by the Home Depot. And no, we don't need you to define slake. If you have a question for us tonight, send us an email. And if chosen, we'll answer it later in the game. Send your email to braves@peachtreetv.com. Please tell us your name, where you're from, and your pet's name. And remember that more saving, more doing. That's the power of Home Depot.
And you can also tell us what slakes your pet's thirst if that floats your boat.
That would be a good idea, too.
Why not? BMAC leads it off. Braves cleanup man with a 5-game hit streak. And a pop fly foul. Now the play, just doing a little bit of peeking at the Baseball America prospect handbook for this year. Pedro Alvarez, the Pirates' #1 pick last year. David Price a couple of years ago from Tampa Bay. Mike Minor of the Braves. Pittsburgh also has a kid named Jeff Sues in their system. He's a 5th rounder from a couple of years ago. All of those players from Vanderbilt.
No kidding.
Yeah. You got a pretty good program. I wasn't aware of that. But the Commodores, some pretty pricey baseball talent coming out of that school now.
Well, I think they were 1 win away from the Super Regionals this year. They got beat in the if game. What do you call it? The third?
Well, the third final and rubber game is what grandfather used to call it.
There you go.
You got to cover all your bases, so to speak. You call it the if game?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not as wordy as us Cary folk. It's a lot faster to say. Well, if we win, we get to go. Did McCann go? Yes, he did. Brian argues with Dana DeMuth, and on the appeal, he's rung up. Boy, Dana DeMuth being very, very decisive behind the plate. That's 2 Braves hitters that have argued. And now Brian's got to be careful. DeMuth's got the mask off. BMAC, head back to the dugout, son. Braves can't afford to lose you. 1 out.
Well, Dana said the ball did hit. But did not. It looked like it hit the plate, not the bat.
Yeah, that wasn't really even close. I guess he called it on the swing. Actually, it wasn't DeMuth's call. It was Brian Knight, the third base umpire, who rang him up. I don't know if Brian saw that or not. Garrett Anderson, the hitter, with a .254 average for the Braves. By the way, what'd you think of Knight behind the plate last night? He had the decisive call in the ballgame in that bottom of the 15th.
Honestly, I would give him a C calling the game, but I thought he was A+ in position to make the call that decided the ball game in the 15th. I thought he was right on top of it. Replays, I wouldn't say were 100% conclusive, but it looked like Jaramillo's foot did come off the base here as he was reaching to catch the ball. But look at the positioning. He's looking right down at his foot. And for that, he gets an A.
As does Jack Wilson, who I thought made one of the most instinctive, difficult plays considering the circumstance you could ever see.
If that had been ruled an out, if he had been able to make a little better throw for the out, it might have been the play of the year in either league.
It's the only play he had, too. And
yes,
throwing off balance, knowing the game's on the line, gave the Pirates a chance to win, and that's how close you saw the foot of Jaramillo on the plate. That's how close the Pirates were to maybe getting out of that inning and sending it to the 16th.
Yeah, when the ball was hit, I was worried about him starting a double play, and then it never crossed my mind for him to come home.
Garrett Anderson with a solid single, the first of the game for the Braves. And again, here is the play. Bases loaded, 1 man out in the 15th inning.
And he's running away from home plate toward the line. One hopper that just did pull Jaramillo off the plate. And again, you can see the umpire taking a close look at that. John Russell came out to argue, but to no avail.
And you can see from that angle, which appeared to be the right angle, there's no way the umpire could see because the catcher's body shielded him from seeing when the ball got in the glove. I'm assuming he had to listen for the sound of the ball and look at the foot.
Yeah, he has to. I mean, that's the way they're trained, too. And a one hopper doesn't exactly make a real loud pop in the glove either.
No. But a fantastic finish for the Braves, a heartbreaker for the Pirates. And now Greg Norton getting a start at first will fly out to left. Back to first. Anderson now with 2 men out. Here's Matty Diaz. Matty getting the assignment in right field. 3rd time he started out there this year. He's got a couple of homers. He's knocked in 15, and Matt hitting .277. Asked Bobby Cox about the lineup change today, and he said just a day off for Francoeur.
Long night, you know, and you're out there that many innings. Can really wear on your legs. And Martin Prado, I was really proud. I'm sure Bobby was too, of the effort he put in last night to hang in there for 15 innings. His knee was killing him. Had the big double, or what could have been a double, but the key hit in the 15th.
And Prado's not 100% either. He's had a real sore groin, Bobby said, and he's had to play because Kochman's been hurt. The Braves are very, very short-handed, and it goes back to a man that we really don't talk much about, the loss of Omar Infante.
This probably under most circumstances is a double for Martin, but you can see how hobbled he is coming around first base, and rather than risk being thrown out at second, stopped at first, and it was a wise choice.
And I asked Bobby about Prado's status tonight. Could he pinch hit? Bobby said yes. However, he would prefer not have to use him at all and give him a full day of rest, as that one scatters the Braves dugout. Jim Lovell and Jeff Porter, the Braves certified athletic training staff, quick as cats down there.
When you're an athletic trainer, you know to get out of the way.
You have to be athletic.
Everybody else is on their own.
Yes. What was that?
Oh, Tim Hudson being Tim Hudson. Like he was going down there to do some martial arts.
He should have been left-handed, you know. Lights are on, but no one's come home yet at Turner Field for the Braves. 1-0 Pittsburgh. And a roller hit toward third. Andy LaRoche goes the short way, and the Braves are retired in the 2nd inning. They pick up their first hit, but nothing else. What?
Nothing. Pirates our score. And how about the folks who got the seat upgrade from JJ? Well, here they are, the recipients of the Big Smile seat upgrade, sponsored by Dr. Deborah Gray King and the Atlanta Center for Cosmetic Dentistry, the place in Atlanta to get a beautiful smile. Yes, we're waving at you too.
Yes. So here's a swashbuckling Ross Ohlendorf leading things off for Pittsburgh.
Is that like a bucko?
Well, I don't know.
Buccaneer?
Well,
like
who's your favorite pirate?
Oh, Blackbeard.
Blackbeard?
Jack Sparrow's right there.
I was going to say, hey, you're a Johnny Depp kind of guy. And McCann says, "Arg," as that ball hits him on the finger. Pirate's life for me. Is that Kate Winslet that was in?
No, it was Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley. I get all those hot British actresses mixed up. 0-2. Now 0-3. Ohlendorf walks the plank. One out. First strikeout for Derek Lowe. And not surprisingly, it was with the hook. Derek's retired 6 in a row now. And here's McCutchen. Yeah, Blackbeard. He was pretty tough in his day. And we'll see what McCutchen can do. Is he the fastest guy you've seen in our league this year?
I thought last night when I was watching him on the first triple, he had to be the fastest guy I've seen. I'd put him there with Michael Bourne for sure. And the way he ran the bases was impressive. This guy led his county in hitting on the high school team when he was in the 8th grade. In the 9th grade.
Lowe tries that backhand play again. Can't come up. And McCutchen will reach on an infield hit. His 5th base hit in this series.
And quite honestly, that's 3 ground balls that would be somewhat routine if he didn't fall off to his left. And perhaps, you never know with the speed of McCutchen, if he lets this go, Escobar might have had a chance to throw him out. But I started saying, in the 9th grade, McCutchen was part of a 4x100 relay team that won the state championship in Florida in their high school class, Fort Meade, Florida.
Reached Double-A as a teenager. Was the most exciting player in Triple-A last year. And in his minor league career, stole 95 bases, including 34 last year in his first full season, I should say, at Triple-A. He's 1 for 1 in the big league so far. This is still his first week, however, in center field for Nate McLouth. And what's the special challenge for a fast guy like McCutchen in learning the league with the stolen base in mind?
Mostly learning pitchers and their moves. He'll have to have some help on that from the coaching staff, but he may have to watch some video if he can get it, to watch guys work out of the stretch. Some of it is trial and error. Nate McLouth would have been a good source for him to help learn some of those moves. But I don't think Nate's going to be that forthcoming now.
No. And McLouth has yet to be thrown out by catcher with the Braves. And I think this year with the Pirates was perfect. And in his career, one time, right?
Matt Trainer got him.
Matt Trainer. Everything else has been a pickoff.
Yes.
And now Morgan, the hitter. Pirates can play hit and run if they want. They don't. It's going to cost them a twin killer. 6-3. And the inning is over. McCutchen got an infield hit and is erased on a double play. Nothing happening in the Pirates' third. It's 1-0 Pittsburgh. Bottom of the third, bottom of the Braves order is coming up, starting with Kelly Johnson. In this, the AirTran Airways home run inning. One lucky fan will have a chance to win free airfare for two if the Braves hit a homer this inning. Visit PeachTreeTV.com/Braves for official rules and enter for your chance to win. AirTran Airways, go. There's nothing stopping you. Boy, to a man partner, the Braves have been raving about the way the ball has been traveling here in the first several days of June at Turner Field. It's hot, and the ball is launching.
There were a couple of balls hit Sunday that I was amazed went out of the ballpark at the way they jumped.
That one's not going to jump into shallow right. And Eric Hinsky is there to retire Kelly Johnson on a soft pop-up.
And one of them was an opposite field homer hit by Ryan Braun that Bobby Cox called a pop-up off a pitch from Tommy Hanson. Well, by the way, looked really good. Yeah. He made 3 mistakes with fastballs, and as he put it, and quite smartly said, I made 3 mistakes, and they let me know it.
Smart pitchers learn from their mistakes. Can't wait to see Tommy pitch his next time out. Wilson on the run makes the catch and robs Derek Lowe. 2 men are out. Well, if Turner Field starts playing like an airport, fans in New York can relate to that. 105 home runs now at Yankee Stadium already. In the final season across the street at the old park, in 81 games, they hit 160. They're on pace for 300 home runs.
That's kind of ridiculous, isn't it?
Yep. The Yankees have hit 57 of them. A hard hit ball past LaRoche. Nate McLouth, another hit against his former mates. And he's aboard with 2 outs in front of Yunel Escobar. McLouth now a 4-game hitting streak.
And he might be running here with 2 out, but he really stayed back on what looked like an off-speed pitch, like maybe just a straight changeup, and waited on it nicely.
You know, it's one of the great mysteries in life for me.
I wish I'd have gone to that store and picked one of those up.
Yours was just fine.
Uh-huh.
But it does. It just looks so elegant. The high finish. And Yunel takes a strike. He was called out on what was ruled, I guess, a foul tip into the catcher's glove his first time up. One of 3 strikeouts from Ohlendorf tonight. Very short lead by McLouth, and he's back atop the bag. Mets and Phillies are playing tonight. Braves will gain ground on someone in the division if they can win this game. They start play 5.5 games off the lead. And it's Johan Santana and J.A. Happ.
Doing their best to try to keep McLouth close. 9 for 9 this year, as Chip said, and success ratio over 90% in his career.
Grounded up the middle. Wilson dives, can't get it. McCutchen up aggressively and holds McLouth to second. Back-to-back hits. And here's what the Braves want to see. Men aboard with a red-hot Chipper Jones coming up in the 3rd inning.
And as he comes to the plate, it's time to take a look at the SunTrust Solid Performers, brought to you by SunTrust. Live solid, bank solid. Chipper Jones on base percentage tops in the National League, ahead of all those very good hitters. But Chipper's work in recent days, outstanding. In the month of June, now 9 for 22 with 3 homers.
Is that a product of the heat? Is that a product of the time of year? Is it a product of the foot feeling better?
I think not just the foot, but his thumb too. Remember coming out of spring training with that bad thumb? He had been jammed a few times. Couple that with some good weather, and he's feeling much better. And man, is he driving the ball.
5th in the league in hitting, and a .406 average with runners in scoring position. A 2-out hit could tie this game at 1 apiece.
He didn't start off the season so hot in the long ball department. 4 homers in his first 133 at bats, but now all of a sudden 4 in his last 25. 3 homers in 2 days, and a tomahawk right-handed swing was the first one on Sunday. And how this one jumped. Talk about the ball carrying. That ball jumped off his bat and then went the other way last night.
Chipper 41st all-time on the home run list with 416. Next up, Hall of Famer Billy Williams, the sweet swinger out of Whistler, Alabama, with 426 lifetime blasts. Billy was a man that always said at Wrigley Field, when the flags were blowing out, hit it high and watch it fly. And now 3-0 to Chipper.
You know, and Chipper just passed a guy that I don't think gets enough credit for his career, Darrell Evans. 400 and, I mean, did he have 414?
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot of homers for a guy that not too many people remember how much power he had.
And back in an era where the questions of the modern player certainly didn't exist then. There's a strike. At 3-1 now.
He was a tremendous low ball hitter too. Anything down over the plate or down and in. Of course, played in Atlanta, also spent a lot of years in Detroit and took full advantage of that short porch in right field in Detroit.
Ernie Johnson used to call him Howdy Doody. 3 balls and a strike. Just missed it. Runners will go now with a full count. Brian McCann on deck. 3-2 to Chipper. 1-0 Pittsburgh. Hits even at 3 apiece.
Ohlendorf keeps rubbing the sweat off his arms onto his uniform pants. I don't know if he's having a little trouble here this inning gripping the baseball or not. Doing a lot of high stepping to rub it off his forearms.
McLeod at second, Escobar at first. The fake by Ohlendorf will chase McLeod back to second.
Come on, Chip.
Big gap in right center field for Chipper Jones. Runners go. Broken back ground ball. Nice play. Ohlendorf to the bag late. Hesitation. Throw to the plate. Ball gets away. And they're at the corners. We are tied at 1. Boy, that was a play that's timing was totally messed up. And a run is in for Atlanta. McLeod scores, and on the head start, that was the difference.
Great play by Young, fully extended, and his first thought was to get the out at first. Didn't have a play there. McLeod never quit running, so he scores. And remember, he got a head start running on the 3-2 count. Brian Snitker waving him in all the way. Good coaching at third base, and it almost resulted in yet another run when the ball almost skipped past Diaz. It'll be a base hit and an RBI.
So 1-1 your score. They're at the corners. Ohlendorf got the ground ball he wanted, but just far enough away from Delman Young to keep the inning alive for Brian McCann. Outfield straightens up for him as McCann took a third strike his first time. And pops the first pitch back our way and into the seats.
The Braves only hit 3 home runs in April. They hit 8 in May, and they've already hit 7 here in the first 8 days of June. So a much better number home run wise here at Turner Field.
No balls and a strike, and with the schedule coming up, they are going to need to hit home runs. After this Pirates series, the Braves head to Baltimore, Cincinnati, then Fenway Park. They'll come home June 22nd, make up a game with the Cubs. Then the Yankees and Red Sox and Phillies are in to wrap up this month. Those are all powerful offensive clubs. Fly ball center field, should be caught. And Ohlendorf gives up a run on 3 hits. This has been the Airtran Airways home run inning of the game. Please register at PeachtreeTV.com/Braves for official rules and your chance to win.
Toyota Tacoma trivia question, and Chip, tonight's question is draft related, so put on your thinking cap.
That'll be a very small one for me.
Yes, I understand. Which 4 players from the 1978 Major League Draft, that's kind of your era, went directly to the majors? Right out of the draft, didn't stop at the minor leagues and pass go. Bob Horner's one of them. Did you already have him?
Way to steal my thunder. I had a chance to bat 250 in the big leagues, and you just shoot me down.
Well, just think if you get one now, you'll be 1 for 3.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, I'm going to look that one up on the computer. Here's Delwyn. Does that count? Delwyn Young is the hitter. 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, Bob Horner had a teammate at Arizona State that was a terrific player named Hubie Brooks that played with the Mets, but
Wasn't Hubie Brooks the guy in Seattle? No, that was Lenny Randall that blew the ball foul down the third baseline. That was a different player. But Hubie Brooks played third base a time or two, didn't he, with the Mets?
But he was a shortstop in college and a dang good one. Really a good hitter.
1 ball, 1 strike. That one skied to left. Garrett Anderson is going to play that on a hop. Delwyn Young around first. And he dumps that ball in front of the Braves' veteran left fielder and is 2 for 2 in tonight's game. Here's Adam LaRoche.
Right off the end of the bat, too.
LaRoche with a sacrifice fly. His first time up. He's knocked in a couple of runs in this series. He will advance a base runner with a slow roller to Greg Norton. Runner at second now, and 1 out. Now I wonder if the LaRoches have ever come close to batting out of order. When you look at the lineup card, you see A. LaRoche, A. LaRoche. You really wanted to play games with the other team, you could just put it that way on the official lineup card and let the other team figure out who's supposed to bat in front of whom.
I would say that if that's going to happen, it's going to be Adam.
Pretty good chance. Adam, by the way, that was Joe. Here's Andy. And a ball outside. 1 ball, no strike. We've had a couple of instances this year where major league teams have batted out of order. Joe Madden of the Rays had 2 third basemen listed on a lineup card. That forced the pitcher to hit, and he got a double and won the game. And then the Astros, about a month ago or so, looked at the lineup on the scoreboard at Minute Maid Park, and it wasn't the lineup that was presented to the umpires. They batted and were out of order.
Was Kaz Matsui involved in that?
Yes, he was. And I think it was Bourne. I think they were flip-flopped. 1-1 pitch. That's got to be that's got to be the most embarrassing thing, isn't it? As a player, bat out of order.
Well, I can honestly say it never happened to me, but I did see it happen a time or two. So everybody always blames the manager when that happens. You know, as a player, you go, "Hey, why did you change me? That's where I've been batting there for like 5 days in a row.
Yeah,
you didn't tell me."
Yeah, they only put the lineup card about 9 spots in the locker room. Two balls, 2 strikes, the count to Andy LaRoche. Good play by Derek Lowe, retired him to end the Pittsburgh first. That's at the knees. LaRoche thought it was low. Boy, Dana DeMuth hearing it from both clubs tonight. It's a hot, muggy evening. He may have a short fuse, and John Russell looking on with a look of incredulity.
Really?
Couldn't believe it either. That was called a strike.
I thought he was from Oklahoma, but at any rate. And certainly had the play.
There's a little known major league umpiring rule.
That is?
Anytime a starting pitcher is named low, he gets the low strike.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I've seen it 1,000 times.
Have you?
Uh-huh. That was maybe 1,001 right there.
Must explain why Billy Hightower never made it in the big leagues.
That's exactly right. See? There's a method to the madness. Eric Hinske, the batter. He's a former Cub. Then we got traded to Toronto, where he won the Rookie of the Year. And then last season was with Tampa Bay.
Did a good job for them in their run to the World Series. Provided some big at-bats and some RBIs for him as a pinch hitter and DH. Yesterday, Derek Lowe was out in the bullpen an hour before batting practice. I happened to be here early, and he was out in the bullpen in shorts and a T-shirt and looked like an 11-year-old out there kind of going through phantom warm-ups. And he had a baseball in his hand, but he wasn't throwing it. He was just warming up, winding up rather, and throwing, pretending to throw. Then he started throwing some balls against the back wall and fielding them. And then he turned around and was throwing sideways in the bullpen and fielding balls. And I bet you he was out there for a full hour doing that.
Ball 4 to Hinske. He has 2 on with 2 out. Well, that's one thing. The other thing that the Braves have raved about Derek Lowe. You know, you want your #1 guy to be, I don't know, the father confessor, the leader of your pitching staff. This guy's work ethic is, I think, even better than the Braves thought or knew it was from his days with the Dodgers. I mean, to your point, he's at the ballpark hours ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, he sets the bar high for all the young guys. Lets them know that at age 35, you still got to work hard, and in fact, you got to work harder. And he didn't just come here to collect a check. He wants to win. He wants to be successful. He wants the team to be successful, and does that by good example.
Robinson Diaz, the catcher for Pittsburgh. Well, they've done a good job without Domit, too, haven't they? Yeah, they're 5 under 500. They're only 7 off the pace. But Domit's arguably their best player.
That is part of why their fans are in such an uproar over the trade of Nate McLeod.
Fly ball, right center field. That is trouble. Big time trouble. One's going to score. Hinske around third. They're going to wave him. The relay throw is going to be way too late. It's a double for Diaz, and Pittsburgh is back in front.
You couldn't have split the outfielders any better. And with 2 outs, of course, Hinske at first base doesn't have to wait to see if the ball is going to be caught. A belt-high pitch that didn't sink. And even if McLeod had gotten it on his first reach there, Hinske was going to score easily. You get a good look here that he's just picking it up when Hinske hit third base. No, but they had the makings of a very solid team with a chance to win, Chip. And what their fans thought was going to happen was that they were going to have some real scatbacks in the outfield. Morgan, McLeod, and McCutchen. And McCutchen didn't make the ball club for whatever reasons the club explained, but everybody in Pittsburgh knew it was because of financial considerations, not wanting him to become a Super 2 player for arbitration.
They can control his rights for 2 more years.
Yes. And what aggravated the fans was, okay, then you're not trying to win because you're not putting your best team on the field. Okay, so McCutchen doesn't make the club. Domit gets hurt early, and they're holding their own. They're doing just fine. They're playing around 500 ball, staying close.
Well, it goes back even farther.
Then they trade McLeod.
Well, it goes back even farther than this year. Just think if financially they've been able to keep Doug Drabek and Bobby Bonilla and Barry Bonds, or Aramis Ramirez, or Xavier Nady, or Jason Bay, or McLeod. I mean,
yeah, it's just a long list.
Yeah. 1 ball, 2 strikes. In fact, the Pirates have 16 straight losing years. That is the all-time record that has had them tied with the Philadelphia A's. Or the Phillies. It's the Phillies, I beg your pardon. And if they don't win this year, they'll have that dubious mark to themselves.
Well, check this out. Last day at 500, just at 500 in this decade. April, May. One time in 2005, it was as late as June 11th. April, and May 3rd. That one date in 2006, they never were at 500.
Derek Lowe to his right has to hurry, and he makes a bullet to retire Jack Wilson. And a fine stretch by Greg Norton to make that play. A 2-out walk was costly. Robinson Diaz doubled home a pair, and the Pirates are back in front.
Time for tonight's Toyota Tacoma trivia question answer. 4 players from the '78 draft went straight to the majors. Bob Horner was one of them, and I was trying to narrow it down. Dave Winfield was before that. So was Eddie Bain. So there you go. Brian Milner, are you kidding me? And Mike Morgan right out of high school to the Oakland A's.
Yep. That was a pretty good draft. I just pulled the numbers up. Here's some names from days gone by that were drafted that year. Buddy Biancalana was the 25th pick. Rex Hudler was a Yankees first-round pick. Nick Asaski, Tom Brunansky, Kirk Gibson was the 12th pick in that draft. Andy Hawkins. First four: Bob Horner, Lloyd Mosby, Hubie Brooks, and Mike Morgan.
How about that? Horner and Brooks, teammates at Arizona State, the first and third pick. Not too bad.
Not too bad indeed. It's Garrett Anderson, the batter, and pops that ball foul and out of play.
And Tim Conroy on that list also went straight to the big leagues with the A's, along with Mike Morgan, who came out of high school in Las Vegas.
And Conroy was the 20th pick out of Monroeville, Pennsylvania. And that ball fouled at the plate. This is, without question, the most exciting day in baseball for amateur players, for the real number crunchers in baseball, I guess it's safe to say, because draft day is the lifeblood of our game. And Roy Clark and his staff. You see some of the scouts, Bo Osborne in the white cap, the scouts for the Giants. This is like Christmas Day to them. You know there are a bunch of presents under the tree. You just don't know which one is wrapped up and has your name on it.
Those free agent scouts work so hard, and they have to cover so much ground. And they've been watching some guys, if not through all the way through high school, then into college. Some of them they've been watching 3 to 6 years develop. And this, like you said, this is Christmas Day. This is who's available, who can we get. And there's not one guy to the free agent scouts that you can go to and say, well, what about that kid in Little Rock? Which one? The one on South Little Rock or North Little Rock?
Yeah, they know.
They know.
Was it like that when you were in high school and coming up? Was it as, I don't want to say as sophisticated, because technologically speaking, I'm sure it's a lot easier, if there is such a thing, to scout high school or college players now. But did you notice the scouts around as much as
sure.
they were around the same way?
Oh, yeah. And they all sat together, typically, so you knew where they were. They were usually right behind home plate. And they had their clipboards and they had their stopwatches.
Kind of like what you see right here.
Very
at the big
much
leagues.
like what you're looking at here. Then the radar guns came into vogue, and you'd see the guns pop up.
Norton breaks his bat. Ollendorf, an easy play, 2 outs. But now with the immediacy of television and now the MLB network, which is televising the first round of the draft, and because of that they're going to carry it over another day till tomorrow. Players now, if they haven't signed a contract before they've been drafted by a particular club, they know right away where they get a chance to start their professional career. Did you have that luxury?
No. And in high school, I got drafted in the 14th round by what was then the Washington Senators, and I didn't know for 2 weeks. That's the truth. That's the honest truth.
2 weeks.
I was going into my park in Norman to play an American Legion game, and the Senator scout came up to me, Lee Anthony, and he goes, "Hey, Joe, what'd you think of the draft?" I said, "I didn't think much of it. I thought I'd get drafted. I'd been led to believe I'd get drafted." He goes, "Well, we drafted you."
Oh.
And I said, "You did?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "When?" And he said, "In the 14th round." And I said, "Wasn't that 2 weeks ago?" And he goes, "Yeah, we've been busy."
We've been busy. Oh, stay hot.
Yeah.
Hard hit ball to Jack Wilson on one hop. He's been busy in this series too. And 3 up, 3 down for Ollendorf. Boy, he hasn't fallen in love with any one pitch tonight, has he? He's got a nice lead of 3-1.
Jamieson Inns. Atlanta-based Jamieson Inns ranked #1 in guest service nationwide for 5 straight years. Check into Jamieson Inns and experience our new pillow-top premium beds and the best in Southern hospitality. Jamieson Inns, you deserve a new deal.
Nice night at the ballpark in all regards except for the score. Pittsburgh leads 3-1, and the man in the batter's box is responsible for that. Ross Ohlendorf has been very, very solid on the mound tonight.
Yeah, and that's not the way he's been pitching. His last 2 starts, a total of 9 innings, 17 hits, and 9 runs.
Derek Lowe back to the mound and a bullet over to first. Well, the funny thing about the draft, you want to draft a shortstop or as a free agent, certainly. San Pedro de Macorís of the Dominican Republic is the cradle of shortstops. How about Spring, Texas for big stud pitchers?
That would be my first thought if you mentioned that town. Did someone else get picked out of Spring, Texas?
Yes. Well, Josh Beckett's from there, right?
Uh-huh.
And let me get back to the list. Matt Perk from Klein High School in Spring, Texas went 14th overall to the Texas Rangers, and you can see the Nolan Ryan influence perhaps in that draft.
Yep.
McCutcheon an infield hit and also has popped to short, now down 0-2. The state of Georgia has been well represented already in the draft today. Donovan Tate out of Cartersville High School was drafted 3rd overall by the Padres. Chad Jenkins out of Kennesaw State went 20th overall to Toronto. And Lowe has his 3rd strikeout, quickly 2 outs in the 5th inning.
And then, of course, Zach Wheeler getting picked by the Giants just ahead of the Braves out of East Paulding High School.
And here are the top 7 picks, with the Braves picking 7th overall. And a draft that's supposedly very heavy in pitching talent, not so much in position players this year. Niger Morgan, a 1-0 count, and rolls one. Foul at first.
Valerie Burrell, our booth assistant tonight, her husband Kevin, a scout for the Chicago White Sox, and they took
Jared Mitchell from LSU with the 23rd pick.
Of course, last year the White Sox took Mr. Beckham out of the University of Georgia, and he's already in the big leagues.
Liner almost took Lowe with it into center field. Morgan has 2 hits. And Derek, from the seat of his pants, probably saying that came back at me a lot faster than it went to the plate.
No question. Oh boy, was that close. So you want to be a pitcher. You're 6'6", and you let one go and you're down off the front slope of the mound. You're that much closer to home plate, and your reaction time gets cut down quite a bit.
Yeah, he won't have to shave after the game tonight, will he?
No. Got that going for him.
Here's Young, 2 for 2 with a run scored. Young just didn't have a place to play with the Dodgers with all that outfield talent they have amassed, and Orlando Hudson has been arguably one of the best late finds in baseball this year for that Dodger club. So they shipped him off to Pittsburgh for a minor league pitcher.
Freddie Sanchez looked like he hurt himself last night on a great play running down the right field line to get a ball and then throw it back to second base. But the reports were he really just kind of cramped up, and that John Russell had told him before the Pirates even came to Atlanta that I'm going to get you a day off on one of the games in Atlanta. So after the 15 innings last night, today was a good day for that.
And they'll need some rest, as will many of these players. It sounds sort of funny, young strapping lads, 26, 27 years old, needing time off, but extra inning game last night, night game tonight. night game tomorrow, then a day game to wrap up the series. That's a lot of baseball in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Well, I don't know what has been decided or what's going to happen, but right before game time, you know, Jeff Karstens pitched last night and took the loss. And there was word that Karstens was going to go to the bullpen and that Charlie Morton was going to get called up and pitch tomorrow against Atlanta.
Runner goes on a pitch out. McCann's throw is right on target, but Morgan outran the baseball. Told you he's their best base stealer, and even on a pitch out, he got a great jump and has his 13th steal of the season.
Again, walking lead, walking lead. You got to make him stop. Any base runner will tell you, hey, you let me keep moving and let my feet keep moving and get my momentum going to second base. That's a huge advantage. And even on the pitch out, able to outrun the baseball.
Now 2-2 to Delwyn Young. Little roller right side, should be easy. And it is to retire the side. A 2-out hit by Niger Morgan does no damage. Middle of the 5th inning, Pittsburgh in front by 2. Buccos in the bottom half of the 5th inning of play. Chip and Joe with you tonight on Peachtree TV from beautiful Turner Field. Nice night for the Braves last night, a 15-inning victory, the 2000th in the career of Bobby Cox as an Atlanta Braves manager, and he's hopeful of getting a start on his second 2000 here tonight in game 2 of this series. Kelly Johnson will start things off, then Derek Lowe, then Nate McLouth against Ross Ollendorf, who came in with a 5-5 record and has been very, very efficient and effective with 4 strikeouts in the game. And that's out of play. Foul. You mentioned in our scouting report for Ollendorf, the 2-seam fastball versus the 4-seam fastball. Has he mixed it up enough to your liking tonight?
I think he has, and he throws hard. He doesn't have to throw maximum effort all the time because he does get good late life with that 2-seamer. But it's the scouting report on him was that if he's throwing 2-seamers, he'll pitch. If he's throwing a lot of 4-seamers, he's just a thrower.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Fastball, slider, and a change, and you just saw the change, and that had some good sinking action to it. Out of Princeton, originally signed by Arizona, the Diamondbacks.
Popped up. That one buzzing in on his hands, had a little cut to it. And Diaz behind the plate, a one-handed catch to retire Kelly Johnson, who's 4 for his last 29 now on the season. One away. And Lowe will hit. He popped to the shortstop.
You hungry?
Always. I'm a carry, you know.
Chicken sandwich sound good?
Sure. Make it 2. The pitch to Lowe is a strike. What kind of money do you think Strasburg will get? I mean, we all know what he wants, and that's as much as he can.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised at all that the number they threw out there. Who knows? These days, if you throw a number out, somebody might actually give it to you.
Well, the record's 10.5 by Mark Pryor of the Cubs when he was the number 2 pick behind Joe Mauer.
Well, Strasburg has asked for double that number you just saw right there.
Off the thumbs of Lowe, it might turn to goal. LaRoche to LaRoche. Good play.
The thing that for the Washington Nationals is that entering play today, as you watch this good barehanded play by Andy LaRoche, is that Washington's only won 15 games. The next lowest number of wins is 24 by Baltimore. They're 15-40, the Nationals. Their attendance is dwindling despite their new ballpark. They need an injection of some kind there for the fans to make it look like or appear that they're trying to put together a contending ball club. And what they got to sign Strasburg.
They also had the number 10 pick in the draft and selected a closer, Drew Storen, who was the closer at Stanford University. We know the kind of problems that Washington has had in its bullpen. But it begs the other question. I'm sure you saw the Sports Illustrated cover this week. I can't remember the kid's name, the youngster who is the big stud catcher out in Las Vegas, who may bypass his senior year, take his GEDs, and try to go into the draft next year. And if he was to do that, some scouts say he would be the consensus number 1 pick, and a player that they think will be a lot like Joe Mauer already at 16, 17 years old. Washington's going to probably have the number 1 pick in the draft again next year.
Probably so. But here's the thing for them. They've got to have immediate help.
Yeah.
They've got some players in their minor leagues that are getting close, and the reports were they had some good pitchers. Jordan Zimmerman's one of those guys that's already in the big leagues. But if you go back and look at their draft over the last couple of 3 years, all college players, the guys that they felt were closest to coming up and being ready to play right away, and that started with Ryan Zimmerman.
Well, let's say you've drafted Strasburg. Let's say they sign him. Do you bring him to the big leagues and pitch him this year with all the workload he's turned in and risk an injury to what could be a $30 million investment, or do you wait a year?
I think you negotiate that. I think that has to be part of your negotiation with the player is, hey, we want you to come straight to the big leagues. And if you want that opportunity, you're going to have to take less money.
So to
you know what I mean? Hang that out there.
To start his clock, to get him to the big leagues and give him some money, but you want to start right away? Fine, take less dough.
That would be one way of trying to negotiate that number down a little bit. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how much they'll give him. Don't have a clue. Don't know if they'll even sign him. They didn't sign their number 1 pick last year, but they need to, and they know they need to. But the fact remains they keep drafting college players in an effort to try to get guys to the big leagues as soon as possible because they need them.
And Bryce Harper, thanks Hal, is the kid that was on Sports Illustrated. The Chosen One is the kid's name. So just think, if Washington ends up picking first and Harper's able to play the system and come out as the number 1 pick next year, the Nationals could get very good very, very quickly. Ross Ollendorf has been very good very quickly and very consistently tonight. We're through 5, trailing the Pirates 3-1.
Sixth inning of play. Pirates on top 3-1. And fans, single game tickets to see your Braves take on the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox June 23rd through the 28th at Turner Field are on sale now at Braves.com or by calling 1-800-745-3000. These tickets will go fast, so you'll want to buy yours today.
Yankees and Red Sox are playing each other tonight. And what's always a festive atmosphere at Fenway Park. That was Burnett and Beckett at the Fens tonight. Adam LaRoche starts it off for Pittsburgh, leading 3-1. 3 runs on 6 hits for the Pirates, a run on 4 hits for the Braves.
One more name I'll throw at you for next year's draft.
Yeah.
Cam Bedrosian. I believe that's what they call him, is Cam.
I think I've heard that last name somewhere.
Well, it's a very common name.
Is it? Yes.
Among good pitchers.
Yeah.
I think the high school is East Coweta down south of Atlanta, and he is supposed to be a dandy and just a junior this year. Somewhere along the way, got some good coaching.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Adam LaRoche. Well, we wish all the kids getting drafted today all the luck in the world as Lowe takes care of LaRoche for out number 1. That's his 4th punch out of the game, but really is an inexact science. We won't know how good this draft will be 2-3 years down the road, and that's, I guess, the hardest part of the job as a scout or a scouting director is how do you really project what a guy is going to be 3 years from now or 4 years from now? And
everybody can have an off year. You can just have a kind of go to the well and not have anything come up in the bucket too. I mean, and I'll give you an example. It was the year that I got drafted by the Dodgers. I think there was only one other guy out of that whole draft by LA that got to the big leagues other than me. Mike Dimmel.
Wow.
I think only 2 of us ever played in the big leagues.
Well, you talk about the Braves. They drafted Tommy Hanson in the 22nd round as a draft and follow guy.
There you go.
Orlando Hudson, a 43rd round pick and a seemingly perennial all-star. Then on the other hand, you have guys like Evan Longoria who come right out of college, spend about 5 minutes in the minor leagues and come up and become one of the stars in baseball.
Mike Piazza was drafted by the Dodgers as a favor in the 62nd round, as a favor to his father, more or less. 62nd round.
Amazing. A ground ball hit toward third. Good pickup. Bad throw, but Norton off the bag is able to handle and tag out LaRoche. There's your second out. And here's the other thing. Look at the 2007 draft as you check out Chipper handling the in-between hop.
Good play.
Guys that are already in the big leagues. David Price, number 1 pick, already in the big leagues. Matt Wieters, 5th overall, big leagues. Washington, 6th pick. Detweiler, Matt Laporta, big leagues, already spent some time. So 4 of the first 7 in a draft just 2 years ago are already starting their big league careers. That's just a quick list. So it really goes back to your organizational philosophy. If you're picking high in the draft, do you have the luxury of paying those big dollars and waiting the 3 years for a kid to develop and come up? Or are you going to draft a college kid perhaps who can step right in after 6 months or 8 months or 6 weeks and come up and play significant innings for you?
Well, you're drafting high because you had a bad year.
Yeah.
So you need help. This Pirates ball club, with their inability to even have a .500 season since 1992, I have to hang a lot of that on the change in leadership, ongoing change in leadership. And it seems like it's a cycle of GMs. Sid Thrift, Cam Bonifay, David Littlefield, Neil Huntington, all GMs during this run of bad luck for the Pirates. So just when it looks like, you know, if a GM has said, well, we're going to have a 3 or 4 year plan to get back, to get going again, gone.
Yeah.
And then you got another 3 to 5 year plan going.
High towering fly ball to left center field. That's real trouble. That ball's going to bounce off the base of the fence. And Hinske around second throws out an anchor there. A 2-out, 2-base hit. He has been very tough on Atlanta pitching already in this series. He's now 1 for 3.
Had a big pinch hit single yesterday. Drove in 2 runs. Big, strong guy. Pitched down and away from him, and he almost hit it out of the park.
Well, if you remember when they got PNC Park passed in Pittsburgh, say that 10 times fast. That was supposed to rescue the franchise. Beautiful new ballpark, all the revenue streams. They would spend the money on the draft. They would keep their homegrown players. And they would snap that horrific streak that we've showed you a couple of times now. They've got the park. They haven't been able to keep the players. They haven't been able to keep ownership. Already changed that over. All the GMs that you talked about. It's been a constant state of flux in Pittsburgh. The only consistent thing has been losing and fan apathy and frustration up there. And that's sad. It's a great baseball town. It's a great sports town.
Well, I will say this for Neil Huntington. He's brought in some good people, good baseball people, to help scout and develop players in their system. Larry Corrigan, who had been with the Twins for 20 years, is part of their scouting system. Keith Champion, everybody knows who Keith is. He's been around a long time. And a guy very familiar to the Braves, Bill LaJoy, a special advisor too. One of the best scouts the game's ever known.
Liner to McLaughlin center. That ball found another gear. And Hinske left stranded in the top of the 6th inning of play. A hot, muggy night. Need the Braves bats to match the thermometer tonight. And hopefully somebody will touch the plate like that youngster.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Atlanta Braves and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
Well, as they used to say, Joe, all the All-Stars aren't necessarily between the white lines, are they?
No, not necessarily. Bat boys are stars in their own right. Sometimes the umpires are not between the lines. They make it to the All-Star game.
Yep.
Is that what you meant?
Not exactly, but I see your point. All-Star game will be in St. Louis this year, by the way. And still an opportunity for you to vote for your favorite Braves. Both Chipper Jones and Brian McCann have moved up a bit in the All-Star balloting. Brian McCann second among catchers. Chipper third among third basemen at last vote. But that means you've got to come out to the ballpark or log online and vote for them. As Yunel Escobar starts things off in the Atlanta 6th. 7 up, 7 down for Ohlendorf, who's trying for his 6th victory for the Pirates this year.
Ohlendorf has a very curious turn with his right foot. He gets it planted as he's getting ready to pitch, but then it's like, that doesn't feel right. Let me do that again. And before he makes his stride or his leg kick, he makes sure that foot is where he wants it. It's different than anyone I've ever seen in the way he plants it.
He looks like an old prototypical 1970s drop and drive kind of starting pitcher. Wide lower body, big thighs. Remember how Tom Seaver was very strongly built but compactly built? Tom Seaver would just grab the ball and just drive toward the hitter relentlessly with those big legs. And to Hopper, eats up Jack Wilson. Oh man, that had some top spin. And Jack might want to check the collarbone. That ball ate him alive. And a good start for the 6th inning.
That's the first leadoff man to reach tonight. Maybe it'll lead to some runs. That ball did come up and nail him right in the chest. So a break there. And the heart of the order up.
And still waiting on the scoring on that play. Here's Chipper. He had an infield hit that scored the lone Atlanta run. Nate McLouth came across in the 3rd. And that will be an infield hit for Escobar, his 2nd of the game.
Right call, too. Bad hop single.
Let's see if going back to the stretch for Ollendorf for the first time in a couple of innings gives him some 6th inning trouble.
Yeah, and just be calm over there at first base. You know, sometimes take unnecessary chances. Don't do it right now with Chipper up there. Not the way he's swinging the bat.
Hottest hitter on the club. 3 homers and 8 RBIs now the last 3 games. And ahead 2 balls and no strikes. An important game for the Braves. You've got the 2 teams in front of you playing each other. And that means if you win, you gain ground on someone. The Braves are 5.5 games behind the Phillies at the start of tonight's play.
Well, you mentioned the schedule and how tough it's about to get. But beginning tonight, beginning with this series, 4 with the Pirates and then 3 with Baltimore in Baltimore, that's 7 games where you could make up a little ground before you get into the teeth of that rough schedule.
Which means Yankees, Red Sox. Three balls and a strike.
They're playing Chipper left-handed like I would expect some teams who have scouted him to play him left-handed, and that is to shade him a little bit to left center. Remember, his first time up, he hit a line drive that way, and McCutchen was almost in his tracks.
But if Ollendorf pitches against his defense on a 3-1 count, the Braves are going to score a run here. And that might have been the pitch to do it. Inner half, and it fills the count at 3-2.
That looked like a 2-seamer that had some backup action on it. It had Chipper standing up out of the way of it, and it came back. That was really a good pitch.
Very short lead at first with a 3-2 count and nobody out. He's going. Pitch line into right field. Base hit. Braves have him at the corners with nobody out. Boy, you put the runner in motion, it's so much more exciting to watch.
Well, it is, and in this case, Escobar did the right thing. This ball was hit so hard, doesn't do any good to stop now. They're going to double you off first base if the ball's caught, so you just keep running. And as a result, first and third instead of having to hesitate and stop at second base, and Chipper still all over it. Hit that one right on the button again.
Now Ollendorf in his first mess in a long time. 2 on, nobody out. McCann and Anderson to follow. Ryan took a called third strike and has also popped out to center. There's a double play depth up the middle. Will concede a run for a chance to get 2 outs here. One ball, no strikes.
Giving Brian a steady dose of off-speed pitches tonight. Remember the one that he tried to check his swing on that Dana DeMuth rang him up on was an off-speed pitch. And Joe Kerrigan with his first trip to the mound. The new pitching coach for the Pirates.
That's another thing that's been a revolving door for them. Different philosophies, different coaches. Think how fortunate you are to be in Atlanta, where Bobby Cox has held forth here for so long, and virtually the same staff with the exception of Roger McDowell and Leo Mazzoni in recent years. You have your style of play, you stick with it.
Yeah. Well, Joe Kerrigan's a good pitching coach and certainly has a lot of experience, and there's already columns being written, stories being printed, and quotes from some of these young pitchers for the Pirates about what an influence he's already been for them.
One ball, no strikes. Hot shot, base hit, 3-2 game.
I'm not sure Adam LaRoche saw that ball.
It was a laser.
I don't know if he lost it in the shirt sleeves or not, but it was a rocket. McCann has his 23rd RBI. Adam kind of made a move, but he never crossed over.
Could he have slipped?
No, I don't think so. I think he just didn't have time to really react. He just didn't have time. It was hit so hard.
So the infield backs up now with Anderson up, McCann at first, Chipper at second. 3-2 game. That's 3 straight Atlanta hits to start this 6th inning. And Anderson looks at ball 1.
Willendorf has allowed a home run in each of his last 8 starts and 11 home runs allowed overall.
Garrett's hit 2 home runs for the Braves this year.
And as we pointed out, the Braves have hit 7 home runs this month, all here at Turner Field. The Pirates have only hit 1 home run so far this month.
Sean Burnett, a left-hander, is up and throwing in the Pirates' pen. 2 balls, no strikes. And Anderson, ground ball to LaRoche. There's one at second. Return to first is in time. A 3-6-1 double play. Chipper at third, but now there are 2 men out.
Remember, on McCann's ground ball, LaRoche is having to hold Chipper on. With runners at first and second, he plays behind the runner, gives him a little more room to maneuver. And good hustle by Ohlendorf to get over there and take the throw from Wilson, who is so slick around the bag at second.
And what soft hands for Adam LaRoche. I mean, he really does receive the baseball beautifully on defense, doesn't he?
Yes, and he's got a good arm.
Yeah.
I mean, once he's got the ball in his glove, he can throw some pretty good fastballs to whoever is the recipient. In that case, it was Wilson.
So the double play gives Ohlendorf a little bit of a breather. It's a 3-2 game for Greg Norton with Chipper at third. And Norton 0 for 2 in the batter's box. Greg could use a couple of hits. He's at 114.
Come on, Norton. Come on, kid.
Little squibber hit to the right side. LaRoche flips to the pitcher covering, and Ohlendorf gives up 3 straight hits in the 6th inning, allows only 1 run, and leaves the 6th inning with a 3-2 lead.
Brought to you by the World of Coca-Cola. Where else but the World of Coca-Cola could jog a 7-foot-tall polar bear? Take home a free 8-ounce glass bottle of Coke produced on site and taste over 60 different beverages from around the world. Make plans to visit the World of Coca-Cola today.
Well, Pards, the Braves had a real good chance to tie this game, maybe take the lead with 2 on, nobody out and a run in, but Norton and Anderson couldn't get the ball out of the infield. Some slick Pirate defense took care of that. And the Braves settle for a 1-run, 3-hit inning. Trail 3-2 now going to the 7th inning at home.
Well, that's got to give Derek Lowe a little reason to be fired up, though. He's back within a run.
And he's got 8-9-1 coming up for Pittsburgh. If you missed the news tonight, Mike Minor was the 7th overall pick taken by the Braves in the draft today in the first round. First time the Braves have taken a college pitcher. First since 2005. Mike pitched at Vanderbilt, has lots of international experience. And the Braves, in their press release, say they're very excited to have Mike Minor in the fold. Now the question of signability comes into play as Chipper to a knee. Handles a hot smash from Jack Wilson. He's retired, 1 out.
That pitcher back in 2005 out of college was Joey Devine.
Yeah, and that was an interesting draft too, because it was such an, I don't want to say odd choice, but uncharacteristic choice for the Braves. College relief pitcher, because the Braves didn't have a closer. They were hoping Joey could come up and fill that need for the Atlanta club, and he did pitch in his rookie year. But now he's got to have another arm surgery, I believe, for the Oakland organization.
Yeah,
that's a shame.
Yeah. Dr. Andrews performed that a few weeks ago.
Pirates took a catcher from Boston College. They drafted 4th overall.
Tony Sanchez.
To Hopper to short. McCutchen hits. He's 1 for 3 with 2 outs. Derek has had an interesting game tonight. Lots of flyouts in the first 2 innings tonight. But after that frame, everything's been either on the ground or in the glove of Brian McCann, with the exception of a line drive off the bat of Robinson Diaz. And McCutchen, for a young player, already has the art of the delay to get his pitcher closer to the dugout perfected tonight.
Yeah, it makes you want to throw a first pitch strike just in case he's taking that first one, to give him time to sit down. Left-handed hitters not doing so good against Derek Lowe this year. No homers, but tonight they have 5 of their 7 hits. There's that first pitch strike, and he was taking all the way. This guy was impressive last night to me, Chip, in that his first couple of extra base hits, those triples, were hit on pitches that were up a little bit, and he got on top of those pitches and hit them to right center.
Took a shot that way again, but McLeod had him shaded perfectly. And Derek Lowe sends us to the 7th inning stretch, down a run. It's a 3-2 Pittsburgh game.
take a look at the Braves' upcoming schedule, brought to you by AirTran Airways. Go, there's nothing stopping you. Back here on good old Peachtree TV tomorrow night as the Braves and the Pirates hook up. Jair Jurgens will work for the Braves. No word yet from the Pirates, but it might be Charlie Morton pitching for Pittsburgh. Then the finale of the homestand on Sports South. John Shambi and I will have that one for you. It's a business fan special, a 1:10 first pitch. Then on the road, starting a 3-city stop in Baltimore. First pitch at 7:05 Friday. First 2 games of that series on Sports South, and then Fox Sports South on Sunday.
Have a chance to see Georgia Tech star Matt Wieters for that Orioles club.
Nick Markakis out of Woodstock, Georgia, the fine right fielder.
They have a terrific youth movement underway with the Orioles as Matt Diaz starts things off and takes a ball high. It's time to take a look at our Georgia Lottery scorecard, brought to you by the Georgia Lottery. Today could be the day. Line into left field. That's going to drop in front of Morgan. There's a good start. 1 on, nobody out. Diaz represents the tying run with Kelly Johnson. Then the pitcher's spot due. It's John Russell talking it over with Kerrigan. They'll get the bullpen busy. And both managers, Joe, after a long inning last night, have to be thrilled with what their starters have given them to this point.
They needed that to save everybody. Burnett was the guy loosening up down there, and he worked an inning and a third last night, so what amounted to 2 innings, and that's going to do it for Ohlendorf.
Ohlendorf gives up 8 hits in 6 innings plus a couple of runs, and the man at first, Matt Diaz, is his responsibility. Sean Burnett was warming. We'll see if he's the man that comes on as this call to the bullpen brought to you by AT&T, your world delivered.
And we hope you are enjoying tonight's game. Now remember, fans, we want you to join us for the 3rd movie of the free summer movie series. I'm talking about Peachtree TV's Screen on the Green. It is at beautiful Centennial Olympic Park, Thursday, June 11th, and we want you to be there. Now, he said, if you build it, he will come. And I'm talking about the classic, the wonderful baseball movie, Field of Dreams, starring Kevin Costner and James Earl Jones, this Thursday. Now, for a full list of Peachtree TV Screen on the Green movies, just go to PeachtreeTV.com.
All right, JJ, thank you very much. Kelly Johnson will be the batter as Ross Ohlendorf departs after 6 innings plus. And it is indeed Sean Burnett, 29th game for the Pirates this year.
He is not allowed to run in his last 5 appearances. And on the road, he's pitched even better. He's only been scored on in 4 of his 16 outings on the road. A guy who was the #1 pick by the Pirates, had to have Tommy John surgery, missed all of 1 season and parts of 2 others, and back in the big leagues this year after an absence of a couple of years. He and Evan Meek, the only 2 guys out of the bullpen last night that pitched more than 1 inning for the Pirates. The Braves had Soriano, Acosta, and then Medlin, who all went multiple innings.
So we'll see if the Pirates' pen is in better shape than the Braves tonight, as Burnett gets the first call and faces a slumping Kelly Johnson. His average down at .238. And Kelly, just 4 hits in his last 29 at bats, popped the ball in the air twice in this game.
Throw to first, perhaps to see if he was going to square around and give away that he was bunting. Martin Prado has come out on deck.
Bobby told us before the game that his preference would be to avoid Prado if need be, but if the game is on the line, he would not hesitate to volunteer for duty tonight. And Kelly does lay down the bunt. And late to the bag is the second baseman, Young.
That was a great bunt by Kelly Johnson, #1. Of course, his speed puts all kinds of pressure on the defense. But it was also a brilliant play here by A.J. Burnett. I can't believe he didn't throw this down the right field line. He's trying to hit the second baseman on the run as he's making a 360 spin here. And I don't know where Delwyn Young was, but as you see, very late to the bag and a break for Atlanta on that occasion.
I don't think Young was playing up the middle, was he? Or was he just later? Did he have a long way to go?
He was playing up the middle for a double play. Maybe he wasn't anticipating the bunt like he should have been. And because of that, Prado's been called back, and here's Blanco, and you would guess him to be bunting because of the success of Kelly Johnson.
So close the book on Derek Lowe. 7 innings, 3 runs in the game, 7 hits in the game. Derek struck out 4, walked 1.
Well, nothing would be nicer than to have him depart with a couple more runs. Give him a chance for a win here.
Here's another interesting bit of strategy for Bobby Cox. You have Derek Lowe, who can handle the bat. You have a bench that's, at least in the case of Prado, somewhat short-handed. Why not use Derek Lowe if you're going to bunt instead of a position player in Blanco here in the 7th?
Success. If Derek, I understand your point, and it's not a bad one at all. But Gregor is an excellent bunter. And wanting the success to move these guys up, you'd rather have a position player do it. In this case, you want to bunt the ball to third base, make the third baseman field it.
Bunted off the plate, and that spins foul. Gregor, dating back to last year, is 0 for his last 19 and hit .242 at AAA Gwinnett. 400 for Venezuela in the WBC. Hit .174 with the Braves in Orlando in spring training. And the play of Josh Anderson and Jordan Schaefer cost him a chance to break camp with the big league team.
Yeah, it really cut into his playing time being gone. And signs given by Andy LaRoche at third base about how the Pirates are going to play it, but apparently Sean Burnett needed the verbal confirmation. Let's see if they put on a play here.
Pirates up 3-2. Braves have 2 on and nobody out. A brilliant bunt single by Kelly Johnson. As the Braves in business. Wheel play. Bunt is on. Diaz pounces, has only one play, and it's close. They're at second and third, and Blanco laid down a beautiful bunt and almost beat that out.
It's the only way you can beat that play is to put down a perfect bunt. Wilson rotates from shortstop. That allows Andy LaRoche to charge hard. So you got the pitcher, catcher, and third baseman all over you. And just a great bunt by Gregor. Almost beat it out. But it moves the runners into scoring position for the top of the order.
Well, how about Diaz having a chance to check the runner at third. And in one motion picks up the ball and throws a seed to first to get Blanco.
So Jaramillo did a good job for them behind the plate last night. So they're getting good work from their backup catchers while Domit's out.
Now, when's he back?
I think he's got another month at least. I mean, he had a bad injury to a wrist, and he may not be back until July. Could be the All-Star break. Wow. But they really miss him.
And a wrist is such a, as you know, I mean, that's a killer injury for an offensive player. Just ask Big Papi, ask Derek Lee, just a couple of cases of guys.
Cliff Floyd.
Yeah, I mean, go down the list. It's a killer.
Here's a terrific opportunity.
McLeod 1 for 3, had a big night last night. 3 for 7 with a home run. And let's see if he can make contact with the infield in now for the Pirates.
He is 5 for 8 at getting the runner in from third and less than 2 outs. I'd like to get them both in.
And put Atlanta in front. 3-2 game. With his acquisition parts, the Braves everyday lineup that has Anderson, it has Kochman, it has McCann, it has Kelly Johnson, it has McLeod, Chipper who can switch hit. This is a very left-handed hitting lineup for this Atlanta ball club, but the Braves see that as an advantage, don't they?
Well, with the way those guys hit lefties, absolutely. And you're going to see more right-handers than left-handers typically anyway. See, he doesn't even flinch. That ball almost hit him, but he was hanging in there. He fought off the last pitch that was in on him a little bit. He's not one of those guys that's going to bail. That front shoulder and hip still locked in there. He's looking to hit the ball perhaps to left center field, hoping Burnett leaves one out over the plate.
Now he runs it to 3 balls and a strike. And Burnett's got a real long delivery. Just from that great camera angle you see from center field, when he gets ready to get rid of the baseball, it looks like he's aiming right for the middle of McLeod's back.
Yeah, he steps right toward the first baseline.
And now he loads the bases. That's the first walk of the game issued by the Pirates. And now John Russell has to go to his bullpen again. 2 terrific bunts and now a walk.
He's going to go to a guy who last night might have been the most impressive guy all night from either side. Jesse Chavez worked an inning and struck out the side, and I don't even think he gave up as much as a loud foul.
So the Braves have him loaded. Burnett struggles in the 7th inning. 3-2 Pittsburgh with 1 man out. Back to Atlanta in a moment.
Show you things you wish you'd never seen.
Dreamcatcher, Friday at 9 on Peachtree TV.
Three-two. Bases are full of Braves. And you're right, the man that was so impressive last night is on for Pittsburgh now in a spot where he wants absolutely no contact. Jesse Chavez.
He's just walked 2 in his last 11 appearances. 9 on the year. 21 strikeouts you see there in 25 innings. But last night he threw 11 of his 15 pitches for strikes, and he struck out Kelly Johnson, Manny Acosta. Okay, we'll give him that one. And Nate McLeod, all swinging, and he was in the 95 to 96 range with every one of his pitches. I'm not sure he threw an off-speed pitch. Part of the order up here for Atlanta with a chance to tie or take the lead.
Escobar, the batter, is 2 for 3. A couple of hits and a run. He's also struck out. makes such consistent contact. The one concern for you is the double play ball. That's what Pittsburgh's hoping to get, or a strikeout here. Diaz, Johnson, McLouth aboard, and first pitch lined into left field, base hit to tie the game. They're going to wave Johnson, and he's going to make it easily. That didn't take long. 4-3.
Well, again, fastballs last night. That's what went up there looking for, and he didn't miss a high one. About a letter high, and he just leveled it into left field. Nyjer Morgan's got a lot of range, but one thing he does not have is a strong arm. And Kelly Johnson can cut this corner with the best of them. And great news for Derek Lowe. He's got the lead.
And a no decision for Ohlendorf, who's charged with 3 runs in his 6+ tonight. And now Pittsburgh on the short end, 4-3. Heart of the order up, and Chipper Jones, he too, 2 for 3. Braves trying to bust this thing open, and a ground ball to LaRoche at first. Goes to second for 1. Back to first, another 3-6-1 double play, beautifully turned. Second in as many innings for the Pirate defense, but Yunel Escobar, a 2-run scoring single, gives Atlanta the lead. It's now 4-3 going to the 8th inning.
Well, they're dancing in the aisles at Turner Field as the Braves have taken the lead. And time for tonight's Home Depot know-how question. It comes from Patrick Kearns in Rome, who wants to know, how do players break in their gloves? And Patrick, it's different for a lot of guys. They've all got their own little remedies to do that. Best way is just playing a lot of catch, taking one out during batting practice and breaking it in slowly by taking a lot of ground balls. But one way to soften the leather that I found was shaving cream. Just rubbing some shaving cream in the pocket and in the hinge of the glove always worked for me to soften it up, help me break it in pretty quick.
As a kid, did you ever use Neat's foot oil?
I did, and some of that Glovolium.
Yeah. And your glove weighed about 9,000 pounds.
It did. It just it made it way too heavy.
Yeah. You see the little leaguers, the 6-year-old, 7-year-old kids playing baseball, and they're just standing with their arm almost dragging the ground because they can't hold the glove up because it's just dripping with the Glovolium stuff. Now the big leagues, do the players do that themselves, or do they use guys like Ben Acree and the clubhouse assistants to break in the gloves for them?
Oh, you can have guys do that for you. Do a little work on it. Good fastball from Mike, 94. They usually put a baseball on the end of a stick where you can just kind of beat your glove with it. Pound it out, soften the leather.
Mike, as you know, another former Pirate. And pumped away by Morgan, who's 2 for 3 in this game. He had been the coldest Pittsburgh hitter coming into tonight's game.
Could we see a 2-inning save from Mike tonight? He worked an inning last night and also worked an inning Sunday.
That's another one of those little-known baseball rules that's just not allowed anymore.
2-inning save?
No, that's illegal. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, it all started with the starters for both teams. Both Ohlendorf and Lowe pitched very effective baseball tonight. Derek has a 4-3 lead now after 7 innings of work. Now Gonzalez in for the 8th. And Chipper Jones right at the third baseman. 1 out.
Smart move by Chipper after Morgan was late on all those fastballs and fouled him off. He moved a little closer to the line. So when Morgan was late here, he was in a perfect spot.
We've talked a lot about how the Braves at this point in the season aren't really that flexible because of injuries to Casey Kochman, to Omar Infante, both of whom are disabled. One area where they feel they have a big advantage is the flexibility with which Bobby Cox can use his bullpen. And here's an example of it tonight. You've got the left-handed predominant bats up for the Pirates in this 8th inning. You can use Gonzalez here, maybe Soriano for the 9th if you so desire. And conversely, when right-handed bats are up, Soriano can face them, and then Gonzalez
depends on how
finish it up.
Depends on how Rafi feels tonight.
Right.
2 innings last night. I think he threw about 22, 23 pitches.
Chipper off his glove. Escobar bare hand has a shot and got him. That'll draw an argument from John Russell. The old routine 5-6-3.
Better be careful. Doug Eddings has a very short fuse. Gone. Perry Hill's a very mild-mannered, easygoing guy, but he must have said the magic word.
Perry Hill's one of the finest defensive infield instructors in the game, and he's been kicked out by Doug Eddings on a bang-bang play off the bat of Delwyn Young. Chipper knocked it down. Escobar picked it up with a bare hand and threw a laser to retire a man that would have represented the tying run for the Pirates.
Well, it took all of Escobar's arm to make that happen. Dana DeMuth has walked all the way down from home plate to try to break up this discussion, to try to move the game along.
And that spot where Young, who's a switch hitter, batting from the right side, that cost him a quarter step.
Tipped over to Escobar, bare hand. Safe.
He was safe. Braves got a break.
Everybody did what they were supposed to do. Good stretch by Greg Norton. But Doug Eddings missed that one. Foot down, ball not in the glove. Break for Atlanta. Foot down. Gary Varsho will come out and coach first.
So Perry Hill ejected in the 8th inning. Adam LaRoche will bat against Gonzalez. He's 0 for 2 with an RBI. Slider strike. Oh, and 2 with 2 outs. Right on that fastball was LaRoche.
Yes, he was. 95 on the pitch, too. Adam, a notoriously slow starter, has, as per usual, begun to heat up.
7 home runs, 26 driven in, and takes high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pirates are a ball club that in their park they need left-handed power. With the short porch in right at PNC Park. And they get no power in the 8th inning as Gonzalez blows a slider right on by. 1, 2, 3 and out with a little defensive help from Chipper Jones. Yunel Escobar and a missed call on a bang-bang play at first. The Braves will take breaks any way they can get them and lead it 4-3. Another good ball game tonight at Turner Field. Boy, we've been blessed with some terrific games on this homestand. Another tight one with the Pirates, 4-3, bottom of the 8th inning. McCann, Anderson, and Norton are scheduled against former starter, now Pensman, Tom Gortzolani, who's pitching for the 9th time this year.
He's one of 3 lefties they have in their bullpen. We've already seen Sean Burnett tonight. They still have John Grabo down there.
Gortzolani against McCann to start. Bryan with a big run-scoring hit in the 6th inning. Braves with a single run in the 3rd, 1 in the 6th, and 2 in their last at-bat. Big hit, a 2-out hit from Yunel Escobar on the first pitch he saw from Mr. Chavez. What a difference a year makes for the Braves in 1-run games. That was such a big bugaboo for this club last year. Braves have more than held their own in that stat in 2009.
What's the record right now?
Don't know.
Oh,
check the stats. but I know they're better.
I got it right here, I think.
11-8.
And 4-3 and 2-run decisions. Sorry to put you on the spot.
I worked with a guy in Seattle that said numbers are numbers. I just know they're better.
What difference does it make?
Yeah. Good or bad. 2 balls and a strike. Line foul into the seats. Look out, folks. 20,000 plus. 20,124, the official crowd, and that one will hit home happy. Great catch. And that's the kind of glove that looked like there was no Glavoleum or Neat's foot oil or shaving cream on it. That was just a good broken in glove. Nice deep pocket. LaRoche takes it himself. McCann's retired for out number 1. Here's Anderson.
That play that Jack Wilson made a minute ago on the ground ball turned into a a double play, a chipper hit.
Yes.
That was another phenomenal piece of acrobatics. I mean, he was coming across the bag to the right field side of the bag, and LaRoche's throw is off the mark. It goes inside the line, and look at this. He changes direction, throws off the wrong foot, and still got the double play. It has been something already in this series.
Not surprising that Jack Wilson knows how to play second base. He was originally a St. Louis Cardinal. And George Kissel, the late great George Kissel, was for many years, 50-odd years, the minor league infield instructor for the Cardinals. And you think of guys like Ozzie Smith, Gary Templeton, Tommy Herr, Jack Wilson. I mean, the list goes on. If you made it to the big leagues in the middle infield and were in that system, you knew how to play.
I'm sure Terry Pendleton would tell you that he got a tip or two also.
Ask Terry about the bucket of baseballs drill that George Kissel put him through day after day in the spring when he was a youngster.
I think Terry was, I think he came up as a second baseman. I'm not sure he got to the big leagues as a second baseman, but in the lower minors, that's where he played. By the way, Rafael Soriano is loosening up in the Atlanta pen.
And Garrett Anderson is down swinging. He's 1 for 4 in the game. There is Soriano, who had a good night last night.
Anderson strikes out. Might see Jeff Francoeur in the game to play right field in the ninth and move Diaz to left.
Greg Norton 0 for 3. Giving Martin Prado a bit of a break as he starts at first base. Casey Kochman still on the disabled list for Atlanta. And the Braves have already won as many one-run games this year as they did all of last year. 11 and 30. One-run games last season, due in large part to a real beat-up bullpen.
Yeah, think about that. They lost 90 games last year, and 30 of them were by 1 run. That is just a killer.
You split those, you lose 75 times.
Yeah.
And everybody says it's a good year.
Right.
Right? And I would guess to say that the bulk of, if you want to call them problems, you're going to have 1-run losses this year. It's been a bit of an inconsistent offense for this Braves team early in the year. And Norton takes called third strike at the knees. Scorzolani, very effective 1, 2, 3 and out in the 8th inning. 4-3 your score. Mike Gonzalez appears finished. Soriano on to close it out in the 9th inning.
Let's take a look at the AM/PM plays of the game. AM/PM, too much good stuff. This was good stuff. A bases loaded single by Yunel Escobar in the bottom of the 7th, put the Braves on top. His offense helped there, and then how about this laser off the glove of Chipper Jones. A strong throw to first. The Braves got the benefit of a good call there, but good play all around by Yunel Escobar, offensively and defensively, and a couple of changes for Atlanta on the defensive side.
Matty Diaz moves from right to left for Atlanta. Francois is in right. Jeff Francoeur, of course. Martin Prado in at first base. And Rafael Soriano will try to finish things up with LaRoche, Hinsky, and Robinson Diaz for the Pirates. Pittsburgh still has Freddie Sanchez lurking on their bench, so let's hope Soriano has an easy time of it. Oh, up and in. How in the world did LaRoche get out of the way? That almost took the Berg off the uniform.
You know, it took his breath away, right up under his elbows. Bat goes flying.
Side fastball. It's where you pick up the helmet, bat, gloves.
Charlie Brown like.
Ooh.
.93 after 2 innings last night. Didn't seem to be any problem there with velocity. 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs. He struck out 3 and did not walk a batter. Bobby Cox has talked about how at the end of games he has a luxury here of matchups. Last inning, left-handed hitters all around, so Gonzalez worked the 8th. Right-handed hitters due up, at least leading off the inning, and then after Hinsky, Diaz, they may pinch hit for him, the catcher.
And you're facing a Pirate offense that doesn't hit many home runs. As we told you, they're next to last in the National League in power. And LaRoche flies to straightaway center. 1 away in the 9th inning. In fact, Pittsburgh has hit a home run in just 2 of their last 12 games, so you like your shot here in the 9th inning. 1 away. Finals in. Marlins beat the Cardinals again. St. Louis was just swept by the Rockies. Redbirds lose 4-3 in Miami. The Marlins starting to put it together now. They're a game and a half behind Atlanta in the standings coming into tonight's game.
It's 5 in a row for St. Louis.
Rick Hummel, their Hall of Fame writer, said the 4 games played against Colorado might have been the worst 4 games ever played in the history of the St. Louis franchise.
Are you serious?
That's what he wrote.
Well, I heard a press conference by Tony La Russa, and he didn't quite go that far, but he was very harsh on his team about how they just had to play better, especially offensively.
Wasted a 3-0 lead behind Chris Carpenter tonight. Josh Johnson was the starter for the Marlins. Neither figured in the decision. Fly ball hit to right. That'll chase Francoeur back. Plenty of room. Hinsky's out.
And you can see where Jeff caught that ball in deep right center. That's a spot where a lot of extra base hits usually land, but because Atlanta's playing their outfield deep in the 9th, he was able to make the catch. Good defense.
Phillies are trailing the Mets 6-5 going to the 9th inning tonight. The Phillies, the team that leads the Eastern Division. Chance for the Braves, if that score holds, as does this one, to be 4.5 games back. Off the plate of ball, 1 ball, no strikes in that game, by the way. Remember how we said Citi Field's not going to give up many home runs? There have been 19 hits in the game. 7 of them have left the ballpark.
No kidding.
Yep. One ball, 1 strike.
This Pirates team has been a thorn in the neck, let's say, of the Atlanta Braves the last year plus, having won 7 of the last 10 games coming into this series, but Atlanta needs 1 more out to take the first 2 of this home series.
And as we said earlier, this is an important series for the Braves. They split 2 with the Cubs, dropped 2 of 3 to Milwaukee. They need a good finish against the Pirates to take some momentum with them on A very long road trip that begins in Baltimore on Friday. Grounded toward third and through Chipper Jones. Tying runs aboard for the Pirates. Robinson Diaz on his way to second with 2 men out. E5, that's got to be an error. And if so, it'll be the 9th on the Braves' third baseman, and the Pirates aren't done yet.
Hot shot, but just off the fingers.
And now Jack Wilson's the batter. The Pirates entered this series 17 wins and 4 losses when Wilson has at least 1 hit. They're 17-5 now, and he has no hits tonight.
This guy drives you crazy because he's tough to strike out. He'll put it in play, put some pressure on the defense, and with a tying run at second base and 2 out, that means Diaz can take off on the crack of the bat, and he might dump one in. Dangerous hitter here.
Took a shot at right field, fouls it off.
Well, the only hit that Soriano gave up last night was to Wilson, leading off the 9th.
Again, the Pirates have Sanchez, Jaramillo, Moss, Vasquez on their bench. So plenty of bullets for John Russell, but running out of time. And off the plate, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Soriano only has a 169 average against him overall. But with runners on base, talk about a guy who doesn't give up anything. 1 for 38. But again, this is a guy who will choke up on the bat if he has to and try to put the ball in play.
Pirates down to their last strike. That was an electric pitch at 95. Down and away from Jack Wilson.
And that's something Soriano's been doing time and again, Chip. He has been hitting both sides of the plate, but especially that outside corner with something on it to right-handed hitters.
Pop back our way, and fortunately well out of reach.
Fastball or slider? Not the slider.
Had him all the way. Soriano takes care of the Pirates in the 9th inning. Braves another 1-run victory tonight. And boy, was the pitching excellent for the Braves this evening. Lowe, Gonzalez, Soriano. The Pirates had only 1, 2, 3 base runners from the 5th inning on tonight. And the Braves win again, back over